Nate, what did you see down at the goal line? I think you guys had 8 or 9 plays and had some trouble trying to push it in there when you got inside the 5 as much as you did. What did you see down there?
Yeah, I thought schematically I screwed something up that didn't give us the best advantage. And then fundamentally, there's a bunch of things that showed up. Big part just pad level with the O line, the tight ends, the running back playing with poor pad level, and it showed up in critical moment right there on the goal line. But it's a good wake up call for us and our guys, and something that we can emphasize this week and moving forward because that's a mentality play for us. So we have to go out and really execute it with our fundamentals more than anything else.
You guys haven't used the Clydesdale package as much, and Spencer said part of that's just because of Braxton being either banged up or doing a lot. He said maybe you guys were going to look at some other guys. I mean, is that a package that you think we could see more of again, or?
Yeah, it really is just dependent on personnel, and Brax is doing so much for us defensively and battling so much that I didn't want to put him in that situation. Now, we got to evaluate everything we do. We might have to change personnel and try new things because obviously it was not effective enough. But a guy like Brax, what he gives us to our team on defense, I don't want to do anything to jeopardize that.
No Chris Marshall this week. What's that going to take away from anything regarding your play calling or what you guys want to do offensively, not having Chris Marshall? What's the effect?
I think it's really an opportunity for a lot of our young guys to step up and kind of get more experience. We've done a good job of exposing those young receivers in games already, but a big part of that is them now stepping in to a larger role or responsibility and taking advantage of that opportunity. I think they're more than capable of executing everything within our offense. So I don't see us having to adapt too much. It's more getting those young guys ready to go.
With that being said, it's Monday, I get it, but just who are you excited to see in that wide receiver group who could potentially step up after what you've seen through 8 weeks?
Yeah, I mean, Cam Bates is a great example of somebody that just continues to make plays. And he's another guy that we're going to have to rely on moving forward. But Quentin Brown is another young guy, true freshman, that's been making plays that he's going to now have to take a step forward. Same thing with Cash. I mean, the whole group, I think, is primed and ready to take that next step because of the experience they've been getting kind of game in and game out throughout the start of the season.
Naming up a young guy, but Chase Penry's right there as well. Just
Absolutely, yeah. No, I thought Chase had a phenomenal game this past week. He did a lot of great things for us. He played extremely hard. He made some big plays. So no, I'm more than excited to see what he does this week. But we've been relying on him for a while. But I'm very proud of how he played this past game.
It really feels like the last 2 games he's come up with big catches, and I know he had injury issues earlier in his career, but just how long has he been waiting for really a moment like this?
Yeah, it's tough to say, but I think he's been ready. He's been ready. To your point, he did struggle with some injuries in the past, but he's been staying healthy, and he provides so much value just because of his flexibility, what he can do for us, the multiple positions that he can play. I think been ready, and he's kind of showing that to everybody.
Love to have probably a 75-yard touchdown off the bat or whatever, but what's it like? What goes through your mind when you see a 15-play, 80-yard scoring drive that covers 8 minutes and 18 seconds in the fourth quarter?
A lot of things, missed opportunities for some explosives, but proud of the resiliency. And I think that shows a lot of character of our offense. I think we've been doing that as far as how we finishing in the fourth quarter, how we're finishing games, how we're kind of being that physical presence late in games. I think that's important for us. But I want to see, 3-play drives when we're executing and hitting those explosive plays that are out there. That's the biggest thing. But I'm proud of the way those guys responded. And then obviously that was a big drive for our entire team and to finish the game.
Dylan in such why is he so good in the fourth quarter? Like he just seems like he leads the country in fourth quarter rushing by a pretty wide margin. What is it about him that feels like late in games is usually worse?
I think that goes back to Coach Hilgard, our strength staff, his training, his ability to kind of keep that endurance throughout a game. I think he gets better throughout a game because he sees things, he learns from each rep, and he can anticipate things. But overall, it's just his mentality that he's been playing with. I mean, he broke a ton of tackles there on that last drive in critical situations, and a big part of that is just playing with the mentality.
From from Maddox's performance? It seemed like at times there were some open receivers that he either didn't see or tried to throw to somebody else at times in that game.
Yeah, I thought he was inconsistent. And like I said, there was plays out there that we didn't make, and I know, he's going to be evaluating himself in this whole process. But he's so critical to what we do offensively, and so just getting him to play as consistent as possible will help everybody. But he did miss a few, and he'll be the first one to tell you that. But a big part of that is me, Coach Hill, our offensive staff, making sure that he is ready to go. He knows exactly what we expect, and then we can count on him because he's that type of guy for us.
Did you see something from Nevada, or what was the reason maybe that he seemed like he was rolling out to the left a lot in that game?
Yeah, there's a lot of reasons for that. I think it's good in general for an offense to be able to roll the quarterback both directions. Otherwise, the defense is going to key on you. They're going to start doing things to take that away. So I think that's important to break a tendency and show that we're able to do that. Now, is it harder on a quarterback? Absolutely. So that's always something we got to keep in mind. I got to keep in mind. But I think it's important for a defense to have to defend booting both directions.
Why does that work for Madsen? I mean, is it creating passing lanes plus a lot of other different things that we don't think about? Why is it good for him to go out right or left?
It's more for what the defense can and can't do. If we're always booting to his right, then they can start, game planning that and taking that away. But the ability to do both gives us more flexibility within the offense. And I do think Maddox does a good job booting to his left, getting his shoulders around and staying fairly accurate for the most part, which I think is rare amongst quarterbacks, and it's something that we got to take advantage of.
How much of it was Nevada just like surprise looks defensively versus maybe his decision making that led to the struggles?
No, I think that's a great defense. I don't think they get enough credit. Coach Ione, as we all know, is a phenomenal coach, and we're very familiar with each other. So there's a lot of that going on, cat and mouse game. But I think a big part of it is just making sure in our process, are we doing all the things necessary to get him in the flow of the game and get him playing his best? I think they did some things that were different they hadn't shown, but we had prepared well, I thought, on a short week. I thought our offensive staff did a really good job kind of preparing for all those situations and looks. And it really comes down to everybody, not just the quarterback, but everybody on the field doing their job so we can execute. That's really what it is.
You mentioned the lack of explosive plays. Spencer was mentioning it. Do you think in this last game, on Friday, was it just the matchups or was it just your lack of execution? How much do you think of each of it was?
Yeah, I think a big part of it is just the lack of execution. That's really what it was. It was out there. We just didn't execute the plays. And that's kind of who we are right now. We're trying to get better, be more consistent. But we have the ability to have 20 explosive plays in a game like we've seen and have 8 or 7. And a big part of that is guys making those plays when they come to them. And we have to take advantage of those opportunities when we get them. That's just who we are offensively.
Spencer's mentioned a couple times Maddox being banged up like a lot of guys out there. I mean, how much is that limiting either what you can call or what he can do out there?
On game day, he'd be the first one. Don't limit me. Nothing's limited, but he is toughing it out. He's doing everything he can to be ready for our team. But really, it doesn't limit him too much. You see him, obviously, big third down, scrambling, getting first downs. So he's still able to compete and do everything we need.
When he does run the ball, he tends to have a tendency to kind of push for the extra yards rather than sliding. Would you rather see him slide?
Yes, absolutely.
Did you talk to him about that at all?
Yes, absolutely. But, it's a fine line. It's a fine line, especially for a competitor like him, where I want him to be smart and understand the situations where he needs to get down and not take those hits. But it's also, it's a competitive moment. It's a critical play in the game. I get it both ways, but I told him to be smart, go out of bounds when he can, get down when he can. But he's just a fiery competitor, so he's going to, at moments, fight for those extra yards.
You say like toughness of a guy like Mason Randolph. I mean, when he went down and the way he was helped off, I think it would have been easy to assume. I don't know. I mean, at least I thought when he was being helped off, I didn't know he was going to come back. And then a few drives later, he's back. So, I don't know. What can you say about his toughness and his importance to your team?
Yeah, I mean, you can't question his toughness at all. He's been battling through all sorts of things for a while now. But I think that just shows how much he cares about this group, this team, where it's going to take a lot to get him off that field. And if he does get banged up, he's going to find a way back on. So it just says a lot about his character, his toughness, but also, again, kind of where we're at offensively. I think we are playing tough. We do have guys that have that type of mentality, that have that care factor. It's just going out and executing.
What'd you make of Dylan Riley's workload? He got some action early, wasn't really able to have anything pop, and then kind of few and far between after that. How do you assess how Dylan played?
Yeah, I think a big part of that was just kind of where we're at game flow. You know, he got dinged up at one point, so we got to work through that. So availability is a big part of it. I think when he was back and rolling, you saw it in the fourth quarter. So that's just what happens within games sometimes.
How excited have you seen Malik be for this game?
I would say he's going to be very excited. Very proud of how he played. I thought he played really well, ran the ball really well. I think he's gotten better and better each week, so I'm excited for where he's at this week. But he'd probably be a good guy to ask.
What do you see from Fresno's defense?
Man, I know that defensive coordinator. They do a great job. They cause a lot of problems as far as getting an extra guy in the box to eliminate the run game. They do a really good job with that. Schematically, they have a lot of issues that they give you, especially in passing situations. So there's a lot to prepare for, and I think that's kind of the theme every week. It's just there's a lot of good defenses, a lot of well-coached teams. So again, it's making sure we're prepared and going out and executing, doing our jobs.
You obviously played here, and you know what it's like. This will be your 7th straight week with a game. It's your longest stretch of the season. So from a player standpoint, what's it like to play 7 straight weeks, and then how does it help you relate to the guys now?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they'll believe me anymore if I tell them that I did the same thing. You know, it's like you can use those stories up pretty quick. But the big thing is just understanding when I can push them at practice, when I need to back off, how many reps do they really need, what can we get done without putting stress on their body. I think I have a good feel for that just from coaching, but also to your point, from playing.
What did the milk can mean to you as a player?
The milk can? Man, it meant everything. That was a huge game. That was a huge game as when I was playing. Just because it felt like every year it kind of came down to that game as far as who was going to win the conference. But just like everything, it always evolves or changes. But a lot's changed since 20 years ago or whatever.
Cool. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Thanks, Coach.